you back. Do 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 do, take you back.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the Wilder versus Washington conference call. Your host for today is Lou DiBella. We'll begin.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This is a call for a really big fight card on Saturday, February 25th at the Legacy Arena at the BJCC in Birmingham, Alabama. The show will be PBC on Fox and Fox Deportes. The main event, the heavyweight championship of the world, the BC heavyweight championship between Deontay Wilder and Gerald Washington. The FS1 broadcast will begin at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. That will follow the Fox and Fox Deportes broadcast of the main show, which will begin at 8 p.m. Eastern Time and 5 p.m. Pacific Time. It's a terrific card. It features the opening bout for television will be between Dominic Breazeale and Izzy Ugonu. A terrific matchup in the heavyweight division. Breazeale, a known commodity, a heavyweight contender, one loss when he challenged Anthony Joshua for the heavyweight title. Izzy Ugonu is pretty much an unknown to the U.S. fight fans. It's his first fight in America. He's better known abroad. He's really the unknown commodity in the heavyweight division, an undefeated heavyweight with 14 KOs and a 17-0 record. If he can get past the seasoned contender Breazeale, then he's going to prove himself to be a major factor in heavyweight boxing. So that's a really significant fight. Our co-feature of the evening is what we're going to start this call with, and today that co-feature became much more significant. All the boxing pundits, all the boxing writers, the fans, they knew that Tony Harrison against Jarrett Hurd is a terrific matchup. Harrison out of Detroit, Michigan, 24 wins, 1 loss, huge puncher, 20 KOs. Jarrett Hurd, 19-0, 13 KOs out of Maryland, one of the fastest rising guys in the 154-pound division. With Charlo today moving up to 160 pounds, this fight is now for the IBF Junior Middleweight Championship of the world. So we knew we had a great fight going in. Now we have a much more significant fight going in. So the heavyweight fight will open the Fox and Fox Deportes broadcast at 8 p.m. It'll be followed by this co-feature, which is now the IBF Junior Middleweight Championship of the world between Tony Harrison and Jarrett Hurd. I'm going to introduce first Jarrett Hurd, who's with us on the line right now. Jarrett's 26 years old, turned pro in 2012, started boxing at the age of 15. He stopped former world title challenger Joe Jordan in 6 rounds in his last fight. He stopped 13-0 Oscar Merlina in the 10th and final round in a co-main event to Thurman Porter. He stopped 17-0 Frank Galarza in 6 rounds on Showbox on November 14th of 2015. Those are the fights that got him into this position. One of the hottest 54-pound contenders in the world today, and an extremely high-quality fighter, attempting to win a world title on February 25th. My pleasure to introduce Jarrett Hurd.
How's it going? I'm good. I just want to thank God and Al Hammond and my team and PBC and everyone for this opportunity. The IBF is now on the line, and I treat this fight, the same as I treated every other fight. Protecting my O and building my legacy is the most important thing to me. So going to this fight, nothing different. I had the same mindset as I always had. Like you mentioned, I'm one of the fastest rising stars at 154 pounds. I don't plan on slowing that down anytime soon. come February 25th, there will be a storm in Birmingham, Alabama, and a new champion at 154. Swift Jarrett Hurd.
Thank you, Jarrett. And I'm going to open up to questions for Jarrett.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions at this time, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. Again, if you have any questions at this time, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. And I'm waiting for callers to join the queue. Our first question is going to come from Dan Raphael from ESPN. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Hello, Jarrett. How are you today?
Good.
Jarrett, can you just give me your how did you find out earlier? I guess it was earlier today. How did you find out that in fact this fight with yourself and Tony, instead of being for the Eliminator, was going to actually be for the vacant title? And what was your immediate reaction?
It was already in the talks. Today was just the day that they finally put it out there for everyone gets to see it. But it was already in the talks. We kind of had a couple conversations that Jamel Charlo was going to vacate. We just wanted to get it finalized. And I knew if it wasn't this fight, my next fight I was fighting for IBF, so I knew 2007 was going to be a big year for me. This is what all boxers dream of, the day that to fight for the world title. And I was super excited, man. We was jumping around the gym, and we knew the day was going to come. It came faster than I expected, but I'm ready.
Jarrett, when this fight with yourself and Tony was made, even when it was for the Eliminator, like Lou was saying, most people who follow boxing was like, wow, this is a very interesting fight, good matchup, two young guys, two guys with with good power and have made some good television fights. The one time that Tony suffered a defeat was when he got knocked out by Willie Nelson in July of 2015, a fight that he was probably winning, and then he got clipped. You're a guy that's been just looking very strong and knocking your opponents out, pretty decisively over the last few fights. Do you think that might be ultimately the difference in this fight, that your power might be enough to get him out of there, to give him a second knockout loss, or is it going to be more, in your mind, a boxing match?
Oh, yes, the power is going to definitely have a lot to do with it. I don't think that's going to be the main factor. I feel I am the more skillful boxer. Tony Harrison, he does have sometimes a suspect chin when he got put down by Tony Harrison. Willie Nelson, and he also got put down by Fernando Guerrero, which isn't a very strong puncher. So sometimes his chin could be questionable, but that's not what we're relying on. That he's not be able to take my big shots, just going there and trying to muscle him around. We got a game plan, go out there on skills. We got an excellent jab, and the main thing we want to do is take that away from him. So once we get that going, the fight's going to be in my favor.
Jarrett, also, could you give me your perspective about now having a second fight on network national television? Your first one with Oscar Molina obviously was a really good performance from you. You scored a knockout. A lot of fans, that was the first time they saw you. You sort of got a lot of recognition for that, partly because it was in front of a very large television audience. Now your second one is going to probably be in front of, I would think, even a bigger audience, and for a world title. Can you just give me your thoughts about how significant it is to you to not only get these kinds of fights, but to be in front of that kind of audience, that of all the fighters that are in the Al Haymon stable, that you've been picked now to be in these two particular spots?
It's great. I feel like that my fight last year with Oscar Molina was on one of the biggest cards that there was in 2016. Keith Thurman versus Sean Porter, and those big lights and me fighting under the big lights isn't what they say, get you nervous or butterflies or to get me out of my game plan. I feel like I'm ready, and this opportunity for the world to get to see it on free TV is such a big opportunity for me to get my name out there.
It didn't look like the lights bothered you in Brooklyn, Jarrett.
I think you're right about that, Lou.
Right,
okay, guys,
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you all in Birmingham next week. Thanks.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Next question, anybody?
Our next question is going to come from Mitch Abramson from theringtv.com. Please go ahead.
Hey, thanks. Hi, everybody. Hey, Jarrett, you mentioned that this decision by Jamal to vacate the title was in the works and that you would known about it, before it actually was announced today. Can you just discuss when did you first hear about it? How, back in your training camp, and just what was your initial reaction when you heard those rumors?
Well, I probably was talking about this maybe 2 or 3 weeks prior to now. And I was like I said, I didn't expect it to happen this fast, but the route that I went, the top level competition I was fighting, it put me to this point where I'm at today. We was sitting down in the gym, and we got the call, and we was all here like, man, they was telling me like, I told you it's gonna be here, Jared. This is it. This is what you work for, and it actually pushed me to go 10 times harder, man. I went home, ran a couple of miles that night, thinking about it, because I know that this sometimes for people could be a once in a lifetime opportunity. So I don't want to take it for granted. And on the 25th, I'm gonna show exactly how hard I worked, and it's finally gonna pay off for me.
Yeah, when you first heard 3 weeks ago, was it pretty certain? Was that how it was explained to you, that it was certain that he would vacate, or that it was just a rumor at that point?
No, I wasn't certain. It was just a rumor. It was a possibility. It was because he mentioned it after his fight with J-Rock, Julian Williams, but it wasn't for certain, and it was just something that was mentioned and talked about, like he may be vacating. We don't want to put out to the media, but it's basically a possibility.
Yeah.
Jamal, Mitch, I think Jamal pretty much was indicating for a while that it was his intention to get out of the division, and I think that both Jarrett and Tony knew that it was inevitable, but neither one of them was sure it would be in time for this fight.
Okay, all right, and then Jarrett, what's your opinion about Jamal moving up? This is the guy that you might have been facing at 154. Now he's moving up to middleweight, where guys are a lot bigger and stronger, and obviously, Golopin's up there and Jacobs. What's your opinion about Jamal moving up?
I think him moving up was better decision for him. If he said he couldn't make the weight, going to fights, not feeling yourself 100%, especially as champion and the caliber fighter that's going to be coming at him, I think he should have moved up if he wasn't feeling himself at 154 like he couldn't make the weight. And I think there's some good fights at there at 160 that he can make, fighting at 160. So I don't think it was a bad decision. But Jamel Charlo is a great champion. I was looking forward to, after this fight, to fighting him, but him moving up, eventually I'm a big fighter at 160. I'm gonna have to move up, so maybe one day we will still meet.
Jarrett, I want to throw a quick question for you. Jarrett, you're a real nice guy. Like, you're very approachable to fans and people. But on this particular call, you wanted to be, alone with the press and answer your questions alone, and you didn't want to have any interplay with Tony. I think you said that you didn't want to really talk to Tony until you talked to him in the ring. You want to talk a little bit about that, because I think that's sort of interesting.
I just always been the guy, type guy Tony Harrison is. He's kind of outspoken, and I don't know how the conversation would have went, but I'm not this type of guy to really go too back and forth with someone. The time comes, but right now I'm just focused on training. I didn't want to, play the mind game, him trying to, talk. Which is not going to be a problem anyway, but I just didn't want to get too much into that. I just wanted to focus on the fight, and I'll see him in Alabama.
Okay, thank you, Jarrett. And we will take one last question and then move on to Tony.
Okay, our very last question is from Lem Satterfield from the PremierBoxing.com. Premier Boxing Champions. Please go ahead.
Hey, Jarrett, how you doing?
How's it going?
Hey, Jarrett, I'm sitting here in the parking lot of the MGM Grand in National Harbor, and just came from a press conference for Gary Russell's fight, and your name came up. Now that this is for the title, and there's a bunch of Maryland guys fighting, would you, if you win this title, would you look forward to possibly bringing a title fight to the MGM Grand in Maryland?
Oh, most definitely. That actually was my plan. After this fight, I was going to try to ask if I could bring a hometown fight. After winning the belt. Because I haven't been fighting home lately. Every fight that I have attended, the closest I did fight was here in New York and in Philadelphia. And I have a lot of people come out, but fighting at home is something different, man. Bringing something out of you, and just to be able to be a world champion and fight here at the MGM Grand, that's definitely a goal of mine that I can't wait to achieve after I win the title.
Can you talk about? Go ahead. That's good. That's good enough. Everybody else answer questions. Right.
Jarrett, thank you for being with us, and we'll see you in Alabama.
All right, thank you. See you guys in Alabama.
And just quickly before I introduce Tony, tickets for this event start at $25. They're on sale right now through Ticketmaster and by visiting AlabamaTitleFight.com. There are Valentine's Day ticket promotions that have been extended till this Friday, for the premium seats, and so we have good seats still available, and we have very affordable seats still available. So anybody in that Alabama area or anybody that can drive to Alabama, join us, because this is an unbelievable card on Saturday the 25th. Again, one last time, the Fox and Fox Deportes broadcast will begin at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. So that'll be the triple header featuring Brazil and Ugano, Tony Harrison, and Jarrett Hurd for the IBF Junior Middleweight title, and Deontay Wilder and Gerald Washington for the BC Heavyweight title. And then that'll be followed on Fox Sports 1 by a broadcast that begins at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up a guy that I've always been a big fan of. He's a huge puncher out of the Fighting City of Detroit, Michigan. He has a 24-1 record with 20 big KOs. His last win was an explosive ninth-round stoppage of Sergey Rabchenko on July 30th at the Barclays Center. 3 consecutive wins since his only loss to Willie Nelson, which was in July of 2015. Comes from a fighting family. Both his dad and granddad were pro boxers. So a man who's going to be fighting Jarrett Hurd for that IBF world title on February 25th, Tony Harrison.
What it do? What it do, man?
How you doing, Tony? You ready for this fight?
Man, when I say I got a lot of sparring rounds on his body, a lot of miles on the track on his body, and mentally, I just want to punch something.
When did you find out that this would be for the title, and how do you feel about that?
I just found out today, and how I feel about it, today is, like I said, after I fought Sergey Rabchenko, I had the understanding that it was already for the eliminator, so I went to go see the Julian Williams and the Charlo fight, and from that, I waited, which is my longest period, 8 months. You know what I mean? Thinking that the pot at the end of the rainbow was every boxer's dream, and then it turned out that I had to fight again for another eliminator. You know what I mean? So it was kind of discouraging for me to have to sit and wait that long, without something in between. Thinking that the pot at the end of the rainbow was the golden ticket, and it obviously wasn't. And then Al calls me and makes a guy from Detroit dream come true, man. And I was the happiest guy ever for the day. So the wait was worth it. It always, my pops always told me, patience is a virtue. Be patient, and I was patient enough. And at the pot at the end of the rainbow is, today was a good day to have a manager named Al Haymon.
And on that note, I'll open it up to questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions at this time, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. Again, if you have any questions at this time, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. And I'm waiting for callers to join the queue. Our first question is going to come from Dan. Please go ahead.
Thank you, hey, Tony. It's Dan Rayfield from ESPN.
What's going on, Dan?
Hey, Tony. Here's my question for you. Back in the summer of 2015, when you suffered the one loss against Willie Nelson, before that fight, you were getting a lot of attention, a lot of hype. A lot of people thought, even though that wasn't an official elimination fight, that a victory in that particular bout would have probably put you in line for a title fight, maybe even in your next bout. I guess that loss, knocked you off course a little bit. You've come back pretty strong since. You won the 3 fights in a row, like you mentioned, a good knockout against Revchenko in your last fight in July. I just wanted to know from you, how much did that loss put you off, sort of the schedule that you had in your mind, and what have you learned since then, now that you actually have the title shot that you wanted back then?
You know what, Dan? I honestly never had a schedule in my head. You know what I mean? I'm just a kid from Detroit, man. They never give us nothing. Even at the point with Willie Nelson, I was talked about, but you know what I mean. I was never in not one sanctioning body. I was never not recognized as top 10 in for any belt. So for me, it was just keep doing what you're doing. Eventually you're gonna kick the door down. You know what I mean? So for me, it wasn't about them giving me anything. So it wasn't a schedule for me. I just wanted to take whatever they put in front of me. I told them, yeah. You know what I mean? I'm honestly probably a guy that Al Heyman doesn't have any problem with. He calls me the same day with an opponent, and I tell him yes. After my defeat, I went back to the drawing board, man. You know what I mean? It put me in a realization that winning or losing, they gonna talk about you. You know what I mean? So. And the crazy thing is, I got more talks about when I lost than I got when I won. Out of 20, before the 21 wins, that one day I got more than I probably got all together when I was winning. So you know what I mean? It put me in a mindset of myself. Just do what you got to do to win, man. And you don't have to be that die-hard Mexican style fighter. Get a hit, knock somebody out in the first round. You know what I mean, to make money, you know what I mean, and to feed your family. So at the end of the day now, it just put me in the mindset to train hard, just be in the best shape possible and make the adjustments as you go along. But, like I said, man, Dan, I from that loss, man, a lot of people probably would have kept their heads down. I got right back in the gym, man, and I started working right back hard. And then, from Cecil McCalla to who was one of the hottest prospects, Fernando Guerrero, to me knocking him out, to me fighting Sergey Rabchenko, who was ranked in every single sanctioning body, before I fought him, and I wasn't ranked in not one. You know what I mean? But like I said again, I take on challenges as a competitor, and like I said, everything happens for a reason, man. So I kept my head high, I kept working, and now I'm right back here, and my the second time should be my best time.
Tony, one of the things that we were talking about with Jarrett before you got on the call, when he did his half of the call, was the idea that you're both, the same age. You've both been good up-and-coming fighters for the last couple of years. Pointing out, though, that your one loss was by a knockout, and Jarrett's point of view that, gave you credit for being a good fighter, but perhaps you wouldn't be able to take his punching power given how things worked out against Willie Nelson. What are your thoughts about having to deal with a guy like Jarrett Hurd's power, who's been really just ripping through everybody in his last few fights, some good opponents?
To be honest, man, the guy, even the guys he's fought against, I take nothing from Jarrett. I got up for Jarrett, so don't think that I didn't get up for him. I got up for him probably more than I got up for anybody else. I'm probably in the best shape than I've been fighting anybody else. But statistically standing, he just fought Jojo Dan, who was a naturally smaller guy, and he got touched up. He fought Oscar Molina, who was, a Mexican Olympian, but wasn't credible to his resume fighting anybody, besides Dominique Dalton. And then he fought Frank Galarza, you know what I mean? So all those guys really fought to his advantage. I believe fought to his advantage. They stood there, would have wanted to fight, would have wanted to slug with it. I think my advantage, he hasn't fought nobody this fast, this strong, and this smart, man. I think I'm gonna show this guy how seasoned I am. Like I'm so seasoned, and they don't realize that I have more knockouts than this guy has fights. You know what I mean? So for me, my confidence is at an all-time high fighting a guy like Jarrett Hurd. And, Jarrett Hurd, like I said, he's been sensational. But part of being a competitor is fighting the best. And if Jarrett Hurd's name is mentioned and everybody's mentioning Jarrett Hurd and they don't want to fight Jarrett Hurd, then Tony Harrison will.
One more question.
We're going to, last question, guys.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Dan.
Our last question is going to come from Mitch Aberson. Please go ahead, from theringtv.com. Please go ahead.
Hey, Tony, how are you?
How you doing?
Good, good. So, just based on what you said about Jarrett, do you think he's been built up on prospects?
I think that's exactly. He's been built up on other guys that, they had questions about. You know what I mean? The fights that, Jarrett Hurd won, which were reasonable opponents. You know what I mean? Very, 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 very reasonable. So I'm not, discrediting anything he's done. They put him in front of him, he beat him. You know what I mean? He earned a shot just like I did. So very, very credible guys. But to my point, man, I think Jarrett Hurd wasn't even the number 3 guy. They bumped him up to number 3, so he didn't earn it. You know what I mean? So in my head, I'm already going in as a stronger fighter. Everything they gave me, I earned. I earned my shot, and then I was gonna earn it again through Jarrett Hurd without the title. I was gonna have to earn it again with another mandatory shot. You know what I mean? They didn't bump me up nothing. They didn't push me up. They didn't give me nothing. I earned it. Everything that they giving me, I earned it. And I was gonna earn it again, whether for a title or not. I told them yes to Jarrett Hurd, and it was supposed to be for the eliminators, another eliminators that I had already fought, Sergey Rabchenko, who was ranked in every sanctioning body. So I earned everything they giving me, man. I'm taking it the hard way, but they ain't never gave me nothing, man. So I never had a problem taking it the hard way because I was gonna earn it again. You know what I mean?
Well, Tony, it could all pay off. It could all pay off on the 25th, Rob, because if you come out of that night with a victory, you're the new IBF junior middleweight champion of the world. So I look forward to seeing you in Alabama.
And I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much, man. It's a dream come true. Like I said, man, for a guy from Detroit.
Thanks for being with us, Tony. See you in Alabama.
Thank you.